What's up, peoples? Welcome back to another episode of Late Night Snacks TV. I'm your host, Kared. Holding it down for your girls. You already know Semic. You already know what we're about to do. Get into some hot topics. You already know about the shenanigans. That's what we do. We get into it. But look, check it out. Hey, we're gonna tip our hats and give a round of applause. You already know, to the Bucks. Yeah, them fools won the in-season tournament. They blew out Oklahoma's man. I don't know what's going on with the Thunder. Y'all did all that work and then fall right there on your face. That's crazy. Man, it's right on your face. But yeah, that's basketball. You already know what it is. Yeah, you already, man, look. NBA, the Bucks looking strong. So therefore, hey, Boston, New York, y'all better step your game up, you know what I mean? Y'all better do your thing. As far as the West Coast, Los Angeles Lakers, y'all better do your thing. The Sacramento Kings, y'all better do your thing. It's going down. I can't forget about Golden State. Yeah. Anyhow, we'll move back into, you already know, NFL. Thursday. How about them Broncos, boy? It's a meaningful game for us, y'all. We play against the Chargers. You already know, so we're going to try to get this dub, because you already know this is a meaningful playoff, you know what I mean? For all your other teams that's trying to get in or in the hunt, stay positive, you know what I mean? And them Niners, y'all stay positive too. Y'all still in the hunt. Anyhow, shout outs to Michael Vick, you know what I mean? Got that head coaching job at Norfolk, you know what I'm saying, University. Man, that's big, Mike. You know what I'm saying? You're doing it big, Mike. You're doing it big. You know what I mean? And another thing, y'all, let's give Randy Moss a round of applause. You know what I mean? Because Randy right now, he's doing his little, you know what I mean, his thing, you know what I'm saying? He's going through his little issue right now, so we won't keep him in our prayers and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? Let's go Team Randy, you know what I mean? But enough of all that, man. Let's get into some hot shenanigans. You know what I'm saying? Let's get into something. You already know what we're trying to do. Inform my people. You know what I'm saying? We about to unpack, see what's getting it in. You know what I mean? Look, check it out. We're going to discuss this, man. This Luigi character. Today, charges was brought up on the first degree, you know what I'm saying? In New York. Also, they threw terrorism on them, you know what I mean? We're going to get right into it, you know what I'm saying? Listen to some audio reaction, you know what I mean? We're going to play this world news, you know what I mean? Let's go.
Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg is holding a news conference concerning the Midtown shooting suspect, Luigi Mangione. It comes moments after the DA indicted Mangione on first-degree murder charges for the killing of Brian Thompson, CEO of United Healthcare. Let's take a listen.
Colleagues, his family deserves our respect as they continue to grieve. Our work will never be able to undo the fact that a life was lost. We are here to announce that Luigi Mangione, defendant, is charged with 1 count of murder in the first degree and 2 counts of murder in the second degree, including 1 count of murder in the second degree as an act of terrorism for the brazen, targeted, and premeditated shooting of Brian Thompson, who, as you know, was the CEO of United Healthcare. This case was made possible by the collaborative efforts of the phenomenal public servants you see before you today, and so many others who are not here. I'm honored to lead the Manhattan District Attorney's Office and privileged to serve alongside Assistant District Attorneys Joel Seidman, Kristen Bailey, and Zachary Kaplan, who were working from the outset, hand in hand, with the greatest police department in the world. Chief of our trial division, Lisa Del Pizzo, and the Deputy Chief, Chris Prefos, provided sage oversight and direction. And I want to acknowledge our high technology analysis unit. There was a lot to be processed here. Steve Moran, in particular, who heads that, and Marco Popic. We are privileged here at the DA's office to work every day with the phenomenal public servants at the NYPD. It's been a distinct pleasure to work besides Commissioner Tisch, an exemplary partner, and Chief of Detectives Joseph Kinney. Almost every day we're in touch, and his leadership is second to none. And then Deputy Commissioner Rebecca Weiner, who, as I tell her, there are a lot of challenging things happening in the world, and I sleep better at night knowing that she is Deputy Commissioner in charge of terrorism. The detectives on this, out doing the courageous frontline work, Detective Oscar Diaz, Detective Curcio, exemplary, the finest. It wasn't just those of us here in New York. I want to acknowledge the great work of our partners in Altoona, the Altoona Police Department, the Blair County District Attorney's Office, the governors of New York and Pennsylvania, the FBI, and of course, the brave members of the public who answered the call when our great commissioner put out the call for their assistance. This was a frightening, well-planned, targeted murder that was intended to cause shock and attention and intimidation. It occurred in one of the most bustling parts of our city, threatening the safety of local residents and tourists alike, commuters and business people just starting out on their day. Let me say a bit more about the charges. They include one count of murder in the first degree, as a killing in furtherance of terrorism, 2 counts of murder in the second degree, 1 charging the killing was done as an act of terrorism, and the second pertaining to the fact that the killing was intentional. The maximum penalty possible for murder in the first degree and murder in the second degree as an act of terrorism is life without parole. The maximum penalty for murder in the second degree is 25 years to life. There are additional counts as well. A number of criminal possession of weapon charges, 2 counts in the second degree, 4 counts in the third degree, 1 count in the fourth degree, and a count of criminal possession of a forged instrument in the second degree. Let me tell you a bit about the facts.
Now, people, let's get into it, people. Y'all hear all those charges that's stacked against him. Man, I wonder what made this dude go down this path. You know what I mean? Because right now, you cook, brother. You cook. It ain't nothing not to say. You know what I mean? There was no reason for you to go take someone's life. We're gonna get into it. Why you had no reason to do this. You know what I mean? At all. People, this world is very, very fascinating. I'm doing this audio reaction, it's educational purposes. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, tell a friend. Late Night Snacks TV is here to unpack. We over here talking about Luigi, you know what I'm saying? He don't get all the credit like that, but you know what I mean? I'm not understanding this story, you know what I'm saying? I'm not understanding it. We're gonna get into something real dive right now and just see what was he thinking about, you know what I mean? Because what I was hearing when I got my research, he came from a very prominent family, you know? So we gonna get into it and see what's going on.
Graphic and disturbing stories can include some strong language. It therefore may not be suitable for our young listeners or other folks who may find it disturbing. Hello and welcome to True Crime News, the podcast covering high-profile and under-the-radar cases from across the country every week. I'm your host, Anna Garcia. Our case this week, it is the crime case dominating the conversation, the brazen murder of United Healthcare CEO. Police say at the hands of an Ivy League graduate from a wealthy family. Police say the murder was targeted, carried out on a New York City street, and captured by security cameras. Unlike other recent cases where internet sleuths have jumped in to help with the search, many prominent volunteers online.
And the kid's an Ivy League student. You know what I mean? Comes from a prominent family. You know what I mean? We're going to get into his story, see what made him go down this path.
And said they would sit this one out. What is it about this accused killer and this victim that has flipped some of the sympathy away from the victim and given to the man believed to have taken a life? We are recording this on Thursday, December 12th of 2024. Our guest today is Susan Hendricks, an investigative journalist, the author of Down the Hill, My Descent into the Double Murder in Delphi, which is out now. And Susan, you have your own podcast as well.
Yeah, it's called Crime Conversations with Susan Hendricks. Just starting out.
Right.
I would love for your audience to come along and see it. And we talk about, of course, Delphi and other cases as well. But this case, Anna, as we were speaking, it's perplexing on so many levels.
It really is. Everyone I know is talking about it. Everyone has an opinion, and I do not recall, as a journalist who's been a journalist for a long time, ever seeing a case like this where the sympathy has, in such a huge degree, flipped toward the accused killer and away from the person whose life was taken.
Absolutely.
Y'all wrong for that. What if that's one of y'all parents? Would y'all want somebody, the world and everybody to celebrate what they did to your parent? Come on, everybody, let's have some type of consideration, you know what I mean? Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Come on, people. Not look at him. This guy has no hero. You know what I mean? Let's get it.
Absolutely, and I think that points to the fact, and it really, you can't stop thinking about it or talking about it or seeing it, which is the healthcare system in the U.S. and how so many people feel nothing for this man who was gunned down, a father of two, CEO of United. They have no sympathy or empathy towards him, and I think that is because they feel like that company, healthcare in general in the U.S., has done Americans so wrong that in a way they feel vindicated, and that can be dangerous. But I'm wondering,
right?
I don't know if this will happen. Will we see any change? And of course, that you're thinking maybe that it's dangerous all around. I think that that's not the way to do it. We're not allowed to do that. There's rules that be.
Look, peoples, I don't believe in none of this. You know what I mean? What happened to picket signs? You know what I mean? What happened to all the way doing all this other type of stuff? Taking someone's life? No, that's not cool. Let's go.
U.S. Of course, you can't be upset with something and then gun down someone else. And I'm also perplexed about the man accused of this, Luigi, because of his background, because he was valedictorian, had so much going for him, throwing it all away. He had the smart to take this on a different way.
Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I have been saying.
Now, y'all heard what he said? He has the smarts to go about it in a whole nother way. For one, his family ain't broke. He could have fought him in court. We all know how that goes with these super powerful firms. They drag it on and on and on and on. You know what I mean? We already know how that litigation stuff goes with that. But man, it's better than going to take someone's life. Donkey. Let's get into it.
Susan, with his pedigree, his education, his natural, brilliant brain, right?
And
Clearly
access, yeah.
and he had access. He could have harnessed all of that power to maybe make a change in a different manner. Would it have been as explosive as this? Absolutely not. Nothing can be like that. But again, this was not, this was not the path to take. And I am so perplexed by it all. Nothing about this case is standard. When we have a young male.
Now you heard that? Nothing about this case is, you know what I mean? It's sad. It really is, man. It's sad. Man, this guy, man. Now, don't get me wrong. We all go through pain, trauma. You know what I mean? We go through it all. You know what I mean? We all, I mean, so I'm not trying to say that this and that, you know what I mean? But I'm going to tell you right now, he was wrong for that. You know what I mean? He could have fought that in court. You know what I mean? But there's nothing else around this. You know what I mean? He did things that he shouldn't have did. You know what I mean, brother? But we're going to get back into another one because, man, I don't understand. What was he really trying to accomplish? He did all that crazy stuff and all that, but in the long run, you mess yourself up. You mess yourself up. You know what I mean? We're going to get into some more what they talking about because the story is really, it's really crazy. You know what I mean? It's really crazy, But we're going to get back into it and see how everybody acknowledge it because what I'm acknowledged is what I see, Let's get it.
Murdering the CEO of United Health. There are the basic questions. How, why? There's also the mystery of Mangione's past. For about 6 months before the shooting, Mangione was off the grid. He cut contact with friends and family and even stopped posting on social media. His last, an eerie message about Kaczynski, the Unabomber, and then his socials went down. But why? And what was his mindset during all of this? We're turning to forensic psychologist and private investigator Dr. Joey Johnston to take a deep dive into Mangione's past. Before all that, let's start with the days leading up to his alleged crime. On November 24th, surveillance cameras caught...
Okay, this is how the whole scenario thing went down. I mean, I'm going to say allegedly because we all don't know the facts till the facts come out, So let's get it, you know what I'm saying?
Mangione at the Port Authority bus terminal in New York City. The bus came from Atlanta, but it's still unclear where exactly Mangione got on. On November 30th, Mangione likely checked in at the Housing International New York City Plaza, where he used the fake New Jersey ID with the name Mark Rosario. That's the same ID Pennsylvania police officers would later collect as evidence. At about 5 a.m. on December 4th, more surveillance cameras captured Mangione outside the hotel, holding what looks like an e-bike bag. An hour later, at 6:19, he's caught on camera again, throwing something away. By 6:29 a.m., he's caught on camera walking past the parking lot on West 54th Street. That's across the street from the New York Hilton Midtown. Minutes later, at 6:44, United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson is gunned down in front of that hotel. Investigators believe it was Mangione who pulled the trigger. After that, Mangione apparently took an e-bike into Central Park before taking a taxi to Port Authority near the George Washington Bridge. Nearly 1 week later, on December 9th, Mangione was arrested at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. Along with that fake ID, police officers found Mangione with a laptop, ghost gun, Faraday bag, notebook, and some medical records. After all this, he was charged in Pennsylvania with...
Wow. People. That's crazy. You see what he got? He applied himself with a 3D printer, So, okay, you already know where he came from. So his background is telling us that he came from an elite Ivy school, was in Penn State, engineering, so he know how to make these type of things, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, wow, he really, this is pretty thought about, it was thought out. He was no assassin, tell he was no assassin. He was just angry, he went on his emotions.
He was charged in Pennsylvania with forgery, tampering with records, possessing instruments of crime, and false identification to law enforcement. In New York, he's charged with second-degree murder, 3 counts of criminal possession of a weapon, and 1 count of possession of a forged instrument. But let's wind back to the process and take a closer look at Mangione's life prior to the shooting. Mangione comes from a well-to-do family in Maryland. He even graduated as valedictorian of his prep school. He later went on to receive an Ivy League education from the University of Pennsylvania, graduating with engineering degrees. He graduated 10 in 22.
Now, where I come from, all those credentials, you take advantage of it. You take advantage of it. It sounds like this dude was a spoiled brat. Yeah, Korea said it, and I'm gonna say it again. You sound like you was privileged, spoiled brat. Let's get into it.
And after that, there are a few major life events we have to mention. Mangione moved to Hawaii for several months, staying in a co-living space in Honolulu. While there, Mangione was injured during a surfing incident and caused his prior injury to resurface. According to now deleted Reddit posts, Mangione had spondylolisthesis. That's a condition where the spinal bone goes out of alignment. This then puts pressure on the lower vertebrae, nerves, and even the spine. Mangione posted about this frequently online, saying at times he was in chronic pain. He wrote, quote, "It was completely devastating as a young athletic person." Now, according to reports, Mangione eventually received a spinal fusion. Later writing on literally 0 pain meds, and was able to sit, walk, and
he didn't have to
stand
do none of
without
this.
pain. That was the post Mangione made on Reddit, and that's the platform he later made his final social media post before going completely dark. That final post was made on May 25th in a subreddit called Ted Kaczynski. That's the name of the convicted terrorist, also known as the Unabomber. Kaczynski seemingly fascinated Luigi Mangione. He even suggested his book crew read the Unabomber Manifesto, and later, Mangione wrote on his Goodreads account, quote, "It's easy to quickly and thoughtfully write this off as the manifesto of a lunatic in order to avoid facing some of the uncomfortable problems it identifies. But
Really?
it's simply impossible to ignore how prescient many of his predictions about modern society turned out." So Mangione's account posted a video to the Ted Kaczynski Reddit back in May. It was called Streaming Overdose 2024 China, and it showed people streaming things to their phones. Prior to this post, Mangione had also taken a solo trip to Asia, stopping in Japan and Thailand. Prior to that trip, Mangione told his friends he wanted to catch up with reading, writing, and wanted to zen out. Mangione seemingly took that to the extreme in late May when he dropped all contact with friends and family. For about 6 months before Brian Thompson's shooting, Mangione went quiet. His family says calls, texts, and DMs were left unanswered.
That's crazy. Yeah, FBI gonna be doing a lot of investigating on him because you've been doing a lot of traveling. You know what I mean? We don't know if he went into one of these pockets and got affiliated with one of these pockets. You know how the conspiracy world, all these conspiracies and everything get into it. You know what I'm saying? Because he come from a prominent family, whatnot. He could have fought this. You know what I'm saying? But he chose to go about it another way, you know? And that's the crazy thing about it. You know, it's like, really? You know what I mean? He chose to go about it the wrong way, brother. So it's like, now you messed everything up. Let's get into how he stands to inherit his money. You know, his grandma left him some money. You know, let's get into it.
The family matriarch passed away last year
and left her millions in a trust that could be accessed by her 10 children. One of her 10 children that can access that trust is Louis Mangione, Luigi's father. The problem is, her will specifically stated anyone charged, indicted, convicted of, or pleads guilty to a felony will be cut out. The will reportedly states, quote, "It is my precatory desire that the trustees particularly consider invoking their discretion to implement this section if the felony is a common law felony, a statutory felony, if it is the codification of a common law felony, a heinous felony, any felony involving a physically violent act against another person or property, or any drug-related felony involving distribution or intent to distribute any type of drug or illegal substance."
So you already know he ain't getting none of that. None of that. He ain't getting none of that. He's a lame. You ain't getting none of that. Brother, you should have did what you're supposed to do. Handle your candle. And got to the cheddar. Now look. Get back into it.
The decision of the trustees is conclusive, final, and binding on anyone. It is my precatory wish that the benefit of the doubt is not given the individual. Essentially meaning Luigi's portion of the $30 million, which has reportedly been estimated to be worth more, he could see none of that, given he's accused of murder in one state and faces charges in another. In Pennsylvania, where Mangione was arrested, he faces charges including forgery, carrying a firearm without a license, tampering with records or identification, and presenting false ID to law enforcement. Meanwhile, in New York, where United CEO Brian Thompson was gunned down, Mangione faces charges including 1 count of murder, 2 counts of second-degree criminal weapons possession, 1 count of second-degree possession of a forged document, and 1 count of third-degree criminal weapons possession. Despite seemingly being cut out of his grandmother's will, that hasn't stopped Mangione from retaining a high-profile lawyer to help fight his case. Last week, he retained former Manhattan prosecutor Karen Friedman Agnifilo to represent him in his New York case. If that last name sounds familiar, it's because she's the wife of Don Diddy Combs.
You heard that? Did y'all hear that? It sound familiar, right? He got a prominent lawyer. The lawyer, wife of another lawyer. You know what I mean? Let's get into it.
From retaining a high-profile lawyer to help fight his case. Last week, he retained former Manhattan prosecutor Karen Friedman Agnifilo to represent him in his New York case. If that last name sounds familiar, it's because she's the wife of Don Diddy Combs' defense attorney, Mark Agnifilo. Like Combs' case, Mangione's case continues to dominate the headlines after his arrest last week. He was arrested last
So you know he got money.
In Pennsylvania, about 4 hours west of where he once attended college. It was there the 26-year-old was eating a hash brown, sitting alone at a table with his laptop in the background. He was recognized by a customer who alerted an employee who then called the police. According to his criminal complaint, officers knew right away they had their guy.
Y'all go ahead and check that over there on Law and Crime, you know what I'm saying? You want to hear the rest of the audio and see the rest of the visuals, you know what I mean? Also, check it out on ABC World News, you know what I mean? If you want to check out the whole visuals, you can check that out, you know what I mean? Click on that like button. It's Late Night Snacks TV. I'm your host, Karid, you know what I'm saying? I am your host, Karid, you know what I mean? And I'm holding it down for your girl, for your other co-host. You already know, he is in the building. You know what I mean? It's just crazy, man. People, mental health is really real. We all gotta check on one another. Because mental health ain't got no type of face. It don't look beautiful, it don't look ugly, it don't look like you can't tell. You know what I mean? So for all y'all out there, check on your peoples, your loved ones. It's Late Night Snacks TV. I'm your host, Karid, and I'm holding it down. And I'm glad for all y'all to be tuning in and taking the time, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And appreciate that, you know what I mean? That like button, that sub button. You know what I mean? It's Late Night Snacks TV, you know what I mean? I'm your host, Karid.